Good day, everybody. Alright, we got a cooking class today. It's going to be a little bit loud, just so you know, because I've got the washing machine going. I also have the dishwasher going. So, there might be beeps and things like that, but again, it's nice to have everything prepared. Mise en place, have a clean space. So everything's kind of put away, dishes are put away. So you got a nice clean area to work with, which, it always makes it easier for me. But today we're going to do something different. We've done pretty much mostly savory cooking classes. We did do the crumble, which was good, which was sweet. But so today we're going to do something else that a lot of people do. But we're going to make chocolate chip cookies. So it's going to be good, but it's a different kind of recipe. It's a recipe where it's flourless, so you don't need any flour for it at all. And you only need one bowl. That's it, just one. And then everything mixes together, and then you have everything ready to go here. First things first, though, is what we want to do is we want to set our oven to preheat. So what we do is we hit bake, and it's supposed to be at 350. Luckily, mine's already set, so I hit bake, hit start on 350, and then as we're doing the process of actually getting everything ready, by the time that we're done getting everything ready, the oven should be ready to go, so we just slide everything right in. Next things next, I've got 2 cookie pans, 1 and 2. So I'm going to need 2 of them, and that's it. What you want to do is you can use parchment paper and put that down, and then put your cookies on top of it. What I have are these silicone mats, so you can take these and you can put them right down on top. They're actually kind of handy-dandy because they do come with like measurements and things like that, which we don't need for the cookies, but for other things, it actually comes in quite useful. So I'm going to put down my silicone mats into my trays. This way the cookies don't stick to the bottom of my cookie sheets, because that's what we don't want. Now what we need is, first off, we need 1 egg. And the egg, what it does is it helps bind everything. It binds everything together, which is nice. So 1 egg, that's your first ingredient. Next, you're going to need almond butter. It's in the fridge right now. It's chilling, because what I want is for it to chill for a good while. That way it's not too runny, because what could happen is if I put this in here and it was like room temperature, what's going to happen is it's going to run and you're going to have oddly shaped cookies, which we don't really want. We want nice, firm, kind of firmish cookies that we can put right there. But you're going to want 1 cup of almond butter. I mean, I guess you could use peanut butter as well. I have almond butter. It's just different, but I like almond butter. It tastes good. It's good for you. Next thing you're going to want is brown sugar. Brown sugar. So there you go. We got ourselves some brown sugar. This is for sweetness. So it gives it that nice sweetness. So there's going to be no white sugar in this. It's just going to be brown sugar. I'm going to want half a cup. So half a cup of this, half a cup of brown sugar. Next things next, we're going to need baking soda. So the baking soda, what it does, it helps the cookies rise while baking. So we got our baking soda. Now, it's not baking powder, you want baking soda. Again, that's to help it rise, so the cookie kind of rises up, and you don't get flat cookies. You want a nice, fluffy looking cookie. And then we're going to use, let's see, how much of that? Oh, sorry. And then we're going to have vanilla. This is really just for taste. You don't actually need it. But vanilla extract, it really brings the taste into the cookie. It just helps add that little, that's even better. And then, of course, we got chocolate chips, which it says 1 cup. But the person who made the recipe also said to, sprinkle some on top right before you put them in the oven, and then sprinkle some more on top after you take them out of the oven, kind of as decoration. Instead, I'm just going to combine even more chocolate chips and kind of cut out that step of sprinkling them on top for decoration. I just want that punch, that nice, as you break it open, that ooey gooey chocolate. That's what I want. So now we're gonna get started. Let me go down the recipe a little bit and make sure we've got everything we need. So it does say on here, so what you want is a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So we'll go through that as we're going through the process. So in a bowl, what you want to do is you want to crack your egg, and then we're going to whisk it. So let's crack it and get whisked. Now again, this is an egg, so immediately after we're done, oh, that's not good. I dropped a little bit of shell in there, so you're going to want to fish that out. It happens. You don't want any shell to end up in your cookie. That could be a lawsuit, even against myself. Now I got salmonella all over my hands, so I got to make sure I wash my hands. There we go. Hands clean. Lawsuit avoided. And we're ready to whisk this egg. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to take our egg. It's in there, I promise, and I'm going to whisk it. Basically so it kind of looks like a scrambled egg before you put it in the pan. But again, this is for binding purposes. And we want to make sure that we get all parts of this kind of mixed in. So there we go. And it's going to help bind everything together. Eggs are amazing that way. What would we do without eggs? I don't know. There we go. Put my whisk in the sink, so we're done with that. Next thing next, we're going to mix in the almond butter. And like I said, for our almond butter, we're going to need 1 cup. So mine's in the fridge. I got to grab my almond butter. Oven's ready to go. So I got my creamy almond butter. And some people use the L and say almond butter. Some people don't. Some people say when it's on the tree, it's an almond. When it falls off the tree, it becomes an almond. I just say almond butter, keep the L silent. I don't know. It's interesting. But anyway, what I'm going to need is a spoon, and then we're going to spoon in to here to measure out exactly 1 cup. What I'm also going to do, though, is I'm going to do like my little trick that I did from last time. I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil spray. I'm going to spray it in there. Because especially since it's kind of hardened, then what I'm going to do is just kind of wipe this around, coat the whole thing, so that it comes out a lot easier. So it's kind of coated, I don't know if you can see, but it's got a little bit more shine to it. Right there. I'm going to grab a spoon, which I'm going to need later on anyway. So we got a spoon, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just basically put this in here. And we want to try to get it as even as possible. You don't want to overdo it. Well, look, this is actually pretty runny as it is, so this might just come out pretty easy. Yeah, it's coming out really easy. And this has been refrigerated, so can't imagine how much runnier it would have been had I not refrigerated it. This is actually going to help my whisking time quite a bit, or my combining time. A lot of almond butter. So we're going to get all that, trying to keep my space as clean as possible. There we go. We're going to take this and we're just going to dump it right on in there. And then again, since we did put that olive oil in there, it's going to help this come out a lot easier. Now here's the thing, is I'm going to need this later to measure out my chocolate chips. So I'm going to have to wash this. So I will place it in the sink, but I'm going to wash it. I'll also wash my spoon. But we'll see what we need this for later. Okay, now we need half a cup of sugar. Now I'm not going to put in, actually right now, see if I put the olive oil in this, that would actually make it stick. What's nice is that since it's a dry ingredient, you just scoop it out and then boom, right in there. So we got half a cup here. Kind of scrape off the top a little bit so that you get a perfect, nice half cup. Make sure it's a half cup. Yes, it is. Don't want to mess that one up. Right in the sink with that, we are done with our brown sugar. Next thing's next. I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon. It says 1 teaspoon. So don't get that mixed up with a tablespoon. Make sure you don't. I made that mistake, but if we put in a whole tablespoon of baking soda, it would really throw everything up. So make sure as you're going through your instructions, it says 1 teaspoon. And I'm going to quadruple check that just to make sure. And again, this has that cool little lip thing right there. So as you go through and you kind of lift it up, say I have this giant on top. Well, we don't want all that, so all you have to do is scrape it down and then look. Boom, it's perfect. We'll put 1 teaspoon in there. And we are done with that. And then for just a taste measure, we're going to put in a half a teaspoon. So look through here, there's 1/4 of a teaspoon right there. Half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, I usually do this over the sink, so I mean, there is a transfer issue. So what we'll probably do just to make this easier is scoot the bowl closer to the sink. Then we're going to take our vanilla extract and our half teaspoon, pour it in over the sink. Just try to get it perfect there. You can see there's a little bit of spillage. Transfer it over, bam. You're good to go. Now we're done with these guys. Or ladies, whichever you prefer. Okay, so we have combined everything except for what do we need? Now we need our chocolate chips. Da-da-da. The pièce de résistance. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because I do want to use exactly pretty much what the recipe calls for. So I'm going to go with 1 cup, 1 1/4 cups. Now we're going to go with 1 1/3. I want these to be chocolatey, so 1 1/3. So first things first, I need to wash this out, so I'm going to get my soap. And we wash. Now as you're doing this, you want to start thinking about, making sure everything's all set the way you want it. I want to check over, make sure the oven's still on. That's a good thing. Happy thing. Oven's on. The dishes are almost clean here. Fortunately, this thing's taking a little bit longer to clean than I hoped. Alright, there we go. Now one thing you don't want to do is I don't want to get anything wet. So now that this is cleaned out, I dry it out. Dry, 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 that way nothing sticks. Because wetness tends to adhere. So I sing when I cook. And I have a beautiful voice. Really. Alright, so that's dried. Now I'm going to need my spoon for later, so I'm going to dry that off as well. And here we go. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way. You know, it's nice to clean as you go. You don't want to leave open lids everywhere if you do that. Things could get spilled, and we don't want things to get spilled. So there we go. This is all ready to be put away. Now we gotta add the fun part. So I'm gonna add this over my baking pan. So if any fall out, they're just gonna fall right there. So boom, there's 1 cup. Put our chocolate chips in there. This is the fun part to watch. Yummy, yummy chocolate chocolate. Now Melanie does like herself. This is extra dark chocolate. Some people like milk chocolate. Some people like just plain dark chocolate. Some people like white chocolate. That's not me. I don't get that. That's me. I don't need to be dirty. But I don't know. I don't know what it is about extra dark chocolate chips. It seems like they have I don't know, kind of like a smoky flavor almost. It's just so much more rich. But anyway, we're gonna put those in there. Bam. Alright. So we have everything in there, and then we mix everything well. And depending on how it is, how thick it is, which, we found out that our almond butter wasn't that thick, but you do have to use your arm muscles. So we're gonna mix everything together. Make sure, because you want to get everything so that it's chunkified. So you definitely want it to look nice. Now, this is actually mixing pretty well. It's not seizing up or anything like that. Like I said, this is all without flour. The almond butter is the flour. Because there's also almond flour that people use. Alright. And we got this. I'm going to scrape this out just a little bit. And we have ourselves a well combined stuff. I like. Now what we got to do, we got to spoon it out, put it right down here. About 1.5 tablespoons each. So, you know what? We're just going to eyeball this. Just going to call one of these good. It's about, I would say that's about right. I'm going to scoop that right in there. Here, I'll angle this down a little so you can see what they look like. Like I said, just one. And then what you want to do, actually we don't need this. I picked the right tool. And you kind of want to just kind of smash it down a little bit. There we go. I think we can do about 3 across. Again, you don't want to put them too close together. You put them too close together, and what happens? They melt together. You don't want to do that. So again, it's about 1.5 tablespoons. Tablespoons. This time it's not the teaspoon. I'm going to do a couple more, then I'll pause the video, because you don't need to see all this part. That one's a little bit bigger. You want to kind of keep them uniform. And by uniform, all I mean is you want them about the same size. That way you get the same consistency with each one. Because you want the cookies to taste nice together. And again, we smash it down just a little bit. Ooh, runaway chocolate chip. Nope, you're going right back in there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Should make me about 24 cookies. 12 per thing. So I'll be right back with me putting them in the oven once I'm done with this. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright everybody, welcome back. Alright, so I have my cookies here. So it looked like it yielded about 20 cookies instead of 24, which is fine. It all looks good, so now the next part is oven is preheated. Everything is ready to go, so I'm not going to have you sit here for 10 minutes while they bake. But that's what you want to bake them for, is about 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is you can put them on separate racks. What you want to do is make sure you kind of space those racks out as evenly as possible to make sure that the cookies actually cook more evenly. I might switch them about 5 minutes in from one to the top to the bottom. I might not, but I'll check on them about 5 minutes in. So, first rack going in the oven. And remember, it's going to be hot in here, so be careful. Don't want anybody to get burned. There we go. They're in there. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to set our timer. Timer, we're going to go for 10 minutes, but I'll be here anyway, just to check on them in 5. Depending on the oven you have, if you have a light in your oven, it's best to check it that way. That way you don't open up the oven, because what happens when you do that is you let out a lot of the heat. And then if you let out the heat, it's not going to cook as evenly. So the light is a good thing to have. But if you do, you just want to do a quick check, just kind of look in there, but don't open the oven like all the way up if you don't have a light. But anyway, I'm going to check on these in about 5 minutes, but I will show you the final product once it is there. Alright, I'll see you in just a bit. Hey, welcome back everybody. So, the cookies are just about done. I've cleaned up my space and I've got my drying rack. So that's what you're going to want, is a drying rack. There we go. Timer's up. We want to turn the timer up, and then we also want to stop the oven. Turn the oven off. Make sure none of that heat escapes. Well, make sure it doesn't stay on. I've done it before and you're like, why is the kitchen so hot? Oh, I've just wasted a bunch of energy by leaving the oven on for forever. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take the cookies out. Be very careful. It's going to be hot. I tend to stand away from the oven because some moisture is going to come out. And I also tend to put a fan on at about medium. It's because you can already see stuff comes out. Alright, so first rack comes out. Set it on the pads. Looking good. Now these cookies, what it says is they're going to look a little wet when you first take them out. That's okay. It's a little deceptive because, again, you didn't use flour. Okay. So we got those out. Those are good to go. Actually, I still might need this just to hold down the rack as I transfer them from here over to here. Now, I'm not sure if I should let them cool a little bit longer. Let's see how they're looking. Yeah, I'm actually going to let them cool on here for a little bit. Just to kind of let it, get all that heat and everything out of it. Make sure that it's going to be easy to transfer from here right over to the rack. And hopefully we'll have enough space on the rack to get all of these wonderful cookies. I'm going to check these ones over here. Might need actually, I think I'm going to need a thinner spatula. Where is my thin spatula? Oh, I think I know where it is. It's in the dishwasher. Alright everybody, this is a little bit air time. Talk amongst yourselves. It seems to have disappeared on me. Oh, it's right there in front of my face. Okay, sorry. Alright, but now it's given time to cool, so little air brake. And we're just going to slide right under and get our cookie. Actually, I don't think I do need this oven mitt now. We're just going to slide it off right onto the rack. Pick it up, nice and smooth. Again, the almond butter is going to act as an oil. So with the oil, it'll make everything come off nice and cleanly. There we go. These are coming off nice. And I did go a little bit longer on these. I went about 11 minutes instead of just 10. That chocolate is nicely melted in. Well, it looks like we're going to have just enough room, I'm hoping. We'll keep our fingers crossed. The cookies are looking good. Can't wait to get back to program because, once we get back and get into the after-school program kitchen. Are the cookies falling apart? No. No. Things are happening. I'm using chocolate chip. This is actually good though. Reason being, as it shows you why you put something underneath. Oh. Sorry. Falling apart, goodness. Just a little bit slower of a transfer. Well, that's pretty much all the space I have for here. So I'm going to leave it at that. I will take a picture of one of these wonderful cookies when I break into it. You can actually see it's nice and doughy. And scrumptious. So I hope you make your own. Take a picture for me and send it on in. Anyway, I miss y'all. Can't wait to get back to program and make this stuff together. Alright, bye.